this particular session on the interdepartmental conflict in organization, we will talk about what is a conflict, what is interdepartmental conflict to the organizations, sources of conflict, rational versus the political model is there, then the tactics for the enhancing the collaboration, then as usual the case study, research papers, books recommendations and the references are there. So, conflict is the beginning of the consciousness is there because it is a perception. What is a conflict? Actually conflict is a perception, and whenever we are talking about the perception, it is a state of mind, and when one perceives that the other person either he is negative or the harmful for me or may become the harmful for me, and therefore from that point of view with the negative perception, the conflicts in the mind that starts. So, person becomes the conscious, and therefore, as soon as the in the natural process whenever you are having this type of the conflict, then definitely in that case it is becoming that the consciousness is there. First we have to understand that is how the conflict starts and what is a conflict. A situation in which the people, group or the countries disagree strongly or involved into a serious argument is there. So, where the suppose a meeting is going on, and in the meeting there are the different discussions are there, and some people they disagree, then this will be a serious argument will be there, and then as a result of which will develop into a state of conflict is there. There is another definition also, a situation in which there are ideas, opinions, feelings or the wishes and that are the opposed to each other, a situation in which difficult to choose is there. So, therefore, in both the cases when there is opposition is there and the difference of ideas and opinions are there. So, organizational conflict is an internal misunderstandings or the disagreement and that can occur between the colleagues or the leaders are there. Now, you have to understand this terminology, that is about an internal misunderstanding is there. So, it is not necessarily fact. It may be a as I mentioned a perception and the perceivedness, and whenever there is a perceivedness or the misunderstanding are there, then there will be the disagreement, and therefore, these colleagues are the leaders that can occur between these the organizational conflict is there. So, these kinds of the disagreements can lead to a lack of cohesion and the collaboration in the workplace is there. So, when employees do not get along with each other or the disagree, it can make it challenging to get the everyone aligned with the company's goals are there. So, here these are type of the disagreements maybe in the meetings or in the decision making or in the group interaction, then definitely that will lead to a lack of the understanding relationship among the group members. This will create a less cohesion because then the support will not be there by the one member to the another member, and there will be no collaboration also. People will not like to work with each other, and when they will not prefer to work with each other, then definitely there will be less collaboration will be there. So, here we have to understand that is the conflict which is one side is to get the challenges to everyone align with the company's goals are there. Conflict among the departments and groups that is called the interdepartmental conflict is there, and these called intergroup conflicts require these ingredients group in identification, observable group differences and the frustration is there. First, employees have to perceive themselves as a part of an identifiable group or the department is there, and second, there has to be an observable group differences of the some form are there. Groups may be located on the different floors of the building. Members may have the different social or educational backgrounds, or that is the members may work in the different departments are there. And the ability to identify oneself as a part of one group and to observe the differences in the comparison with the other group is necessary for the conflict is there. The third ingredient is frustration. So, frustration means that it is if one group achieve its goal, the other will not and it will be blocked. So, therefore, the feeling of failure and the blockage is there, that is I cannot work further, I cannot grow further, is this type of the feeling comes, then it will create a frustration. So, frustration need not be so severe and only need to be anticipated to set off the intergroup conflict is there. So, therefore, in that case it becomes important that is whenever we are talking about this type of the relationship, then you have to be very careful so that the conflict does not create a frustration among the employees. So, intergroup conflict will appear when one group tries to advance in position in relation to the other groups are there. So, intergroup conflict can be defined as the behavior that occurs among the organizational groups when the participants identify with one group and perceive that the other groups may block their group goal achievements or the expectations are there. So, conflict means that the group clash directly, that they are in the fundamental opposition. Conflict is similar to the competition, but the more severe is there. So, competition is rivalry among the groups in the pursuit of a common prize, wherever the prize presumes that direct interferences with the goal achievement. The intergroup conflict with organizations can occur the horizontally across the departments or vertically between the different levels of the organizations are there. R&D managers often conflict with the finance managers because the finance managers pressure to control cost reduces the amount of funding, but the new R&D projects are there. So, teammates may argue about the best way to accomplish the task and the achieve goals are there. When Matthew Barrett becomes the CEO of the Barclays PLC, he found that the members of the executive team were frequently in conflict because each member wanted to defend the interest of his or her part of the organization. So, Barrett took the team to dinner and told them he planned to disable the executive team unless the members put the whole of this company first. So, vertical conflict may occur when the employees clash and bosses about the new work method or reward systems or the job assignments they offer. Another typical area of conflict is in between the groups such as unions and management or the franchisee owners and the headquarters are there. For example, franchisee owners for the McDonald's, Taco Bell, Burger King and the KFC have clashed with the headquarters because of the increase of the company owned stores in neighborhoods that compete directly with the franchises are there. So, conflict can occur between the different division of businesses units with an organization, such as the between the auditing and consulting units of the big firms, the PricewaterhouseCoopers are there. Now, in global organizations, conflicts between the regional managers and the business division managers among the different divisions or the between the divisions and headquarters are the common because of the complexities of the international businesses are there. Similar problems occur between the distinct organizations are there. With so many companies involved in inter-organizational collaboration, conflicts and shifting power relationships are the inevitable. So, what are the different sources of conflict? So, some specific organizational characteristics can generate the conflict. These sources of intergroup conflicts are goal incompatibility, differentiation, task interdependence and the limited resources. These characteristics of the organizational relationships are determined by the organizational structure and the contingency factors of the environment, size, technology and strategy and goals are there. These characteristics in turn help shapes the extent in which a rational model of behavior versus a political model of behavior is used to accomplish the objective is there. So, goal incompatibility and the goal of each department reflect the specific objective members are trying to achieve. The achievement of one department's goals often interferes with the another department's goals leading to the conflict are there. Unicity Police, for example, have a goal of providing a safe and a service campus. Now, they can achieve this goal by locking the buildings or the evening and the weekends and not distributing keys. So, without easy access to building, however, the progress towards the science department's research goals will proceed slowly. On the other hand, if the scientists come and go at all hours and security is ignored, police goals for security will not be met. So, goal incompatibility throws the departments into the conflict with each other is there. So, goal conflict between the typical marketing and the manufacturing departments are there. So, here is the goal conflict, that is operative goals is customer satisfaction, operative goal is the production efficiency. So, conflict area are the breadth of the product line and the new product introduction are there, and the typical comment will be our customers demand variety and the new products are our livelihood. So, the typical comment will be there by the manufacturing, and the product line is too broad, all we get are short uneconomical runs are there. So, unnecessary design changes will be the new product introduction. The unnecessary design changes are the prohibitively expensive. So, therefore, when we talk about in the customer satisfaction and when we talk about the production efficiency, that is the marketing versus manufacturing, here see that is there will be the typical comments will be there. Now, in the case of this the product scheduling is concerned. So, the marketing people will say we need faster response, our customer leader the times are too long, while in the case of the manufacturing, so we need the realistic commitments that do not change the wind direction. So, as far as the physical distribution is concerned, the marketing people comment will be why do not we ever write a merchandise in the inventory, and the maintenance people will say we can afford to keep the huge inventions. So, we cannot. So, therefore, in that case here there will be the difference of these or the disagreement about the procedures. As far as the quality is concerned, why cannot we have the reasonable quality at the lower cost? Here why must we always offer options that are too expensive with the less customer utility is there? Now, this differentiation is defined as the difference in the cognitive and emotional orientations among managers in different functional departments. So, these functional functions and specialization requires people with the specific education, skill, attitudes and the time horizons are there. For example, people may join a sales department because they have ability and aptitude consistent with the sales work are there. So, after becoming the members of the sales department, they are influenced by the departmental norms and values. Now, departments of division within an organization often differ in values, attitude and the standards of behaviors, and these subcultural difference lead to conflicts. The task interdependence is there. So, task interdependence refers to the dependence of one unit or the another for the material, resources or information. The pooled interdependence means there is a little interaction. Sequentially interdependence means the output of one department goes to the next department, and the reciprocal interdependence means that departmental mutuality exchange the materials and the information is there. As interdependence increases, the potential for the conflict also increases. In the case of the pooled interdependence, units have the little need to interact, conflict is at a minimum. The sequential and reciprocal interdependence require employee to spend time coordinating and the sharing information is there. Now, when we talk about these sources of conflict, the very important source is that is the source for the conflict is that is limited resources. Another major source of the conflict involves the competition between groups for the what members perceive as limited resources. Organizations have limited money, physical facilities, staff resources and the human resources to share among the departments are there. In their desire to achieve goals, groups want to increase their resources and this throws them into the conflict is there. Managers may develop strategies such as the inflating in the budget requirements or working behind the scenes to obtain a desired level of resources. So, resources also symbolizes power and influence within organization. The ability to obtain resources enhances prestige. So, departments typically believe they have a legitimate claim on the additional resources are there. The degree of the goal, incompatibility, differentiation, interdependence and competition for the limited resources determines whether a rational or the political model of behavior is used within the organization to accomplish the goals. So, as with the rational approaches to decision making, the rational model of the organization is an ideal that is not fully achievable in the real world, though managers strive to use the rational processes whenever possible. In the rational organization, behavior is not the random or the accidental. Goals are clear and the choices are made in a logical way. The political model describes the way organizations operate much of the time. Although managers strive to use a rational approach, the political model prevails because each department has the different interests it wants to meet and the different goals it wants to achieve. Now here whenever we are talking about the sources of conflict and use of the rational versus political model. So, sources of potential intergroup conflicts are there. Now in the case of goal incompatibility, the differentiation and the task interdependence and limited resources are there, which I have talked already. Now when conflict is low, rational model describes the organization, and that is the what is the your structure, that is a centralized orderly logical rational norm of efficiency are there, and the extensive systematic accuracy is there, or the goals are having the power and control decision process rules and norms and information is there. So when the conflict is high, now the political model describes the organization, while in case of the when the conflict was low, the rational model was describing the organization. So everything very in the order logical and the rational way. When the here when this political model is there, inconsistent pluralistic within the organization, decentralized shifting coalition and interest groups are there, disorderly result of the bargaining and interplay among the interests are there, free play of the market forces, conflict is legitimate and the expected, ambiguous information used and withheld strategically is there. So when we talk about the rational model versus the political model, both models typically are used in the organizations. So neither the rational model nor the political model, that is characterize the things fully, but each will be used some of the time. So managers may strive to adopt the rational procedure, but will find that is the politics is needed to accomplish the objectives. When managers fail to effectively to apply the political model, then the conflict is can escalate and prohibit the organization from achieving the important outcomes. Most organizations have at least the moderate conflict among departments or the other organizational groups. When conflict becomes too strong and managers do not work together, it creates many problems for the organizations. So here the top 10 problems from which the too much conflict arises, and that are the communications breakdown is there, performance and productivity decrease, resources are wasted, then the moral declines, and it will end and bad feeling increases will be there. Now the breakdowns in planning and coordination occurs, so therefore as I mentioned, that is the productivity will be affected, problems are not solved and processes are not improved. So company loses its focus on the customers and the profits, and disputes and the use of the negative politic increases, which is very dangerous for the organization for the survival. Job related stress and the workplace tension increases, so employees turnover will increase, people will not like to work in the organization because this organization is having a lot of this type of the conflicts. Job related stress and the workplace tension increases, and therefore in that case it becomes important, that is the disputes and the use of the negative politics increases, and the interpersonal relationship. So workplace that will not be cohesive and there will be no collaboration. So as a result of which they will not like to come at the workplace, the absenteeism will increase, the productivity will go down. So therefore in that case if we are having too much conflict at the workplace, so organization will be job related stress and workplace tension will increase in that the workplace. Employees see and follow a poor example set by the managers, and therefore they will not going for the achieving the higher goals. So what are the tactics for the enhancing collaboration is there if this is the situation. So good managers strive to minimize the conflict and prevent it from the hurting organizational performance and the goal attainment as there. So effective conflict management can have the direct positive effect on the team and the organization performance. Thus managers consciously apply a variety of techniques to overcome conflict by this stimulating the cooperation and collaboration among departments to support the attainment of the organizational goals are there. So tactics for the enhancing collaborations are include the create the integration device, then the use the unconfrontation and negotiation, schedule intergroup consultation, practice member rotation, and create the share mission and the superordinate goals. Now how to create the integration devices are there. So there are the team, task, project managers who span the boundaries between the departments and can be used as a integration device. So bringing together representatives from the conflicting departments in the joint problem solving teams is an effective way to enhance the collaboration, because the representatives learn to understand each other's point of view. the integrator has to understand each group's problems and must be able to move more both groups towards a solution, and this is mutually acceptable. And the teams and task forces they reduce the conflict and the enhance cooperation because they integrate people from the different departments are there. Now, when we are talking about these integration devices that can be also used to cooperation between the labor and management. So, labor management teams which are designed to increase worker participation and provide a cooperative model for solving union management problems are the increasingly being used at companies such as the Goodyear, the Ford Motor Company and the Aloka is there. So, second way where the UK increase the collaboration, use confrontation and negotiation. Confrontation occurs when the parties in conflict directly engage one another and try to work out their differences. So, negotiation is the bargaining process that often occurs during the confrontation and that enables the parties to systemically reach a solution. And these techniques bring the appointed representatives from the departments together to work out a serious dispute. So, confrontation and negotiation involve some risk. If members are able to resolve the conflict on the basis of face to face discussion, they will find a new respect for each other, and the future collaboration becomes the easier. So, confrontation and negotiations are successful when managers engage to a win-win strategy. When win-win means both sides adopt a positive attitude and strive to resolve the conflict is a way that will benefit each other. If the negotiation deteriorates for a strictly win-lose strategy, the confrontation will be ineffective. So, we have to schedule the intergroup consultations are there when conflict is the intense and enduring and the department members are the suspicious and uncooperative. The top managers may intervene as a third parties to help the resolve, and conflict are being the third party consultants from outside the organization. The process sometimes called the workplace mediation is a strong intervention to reduce the conflict because it involves the bringing the disputing the parties together and allowing each side to present its version of the situation. The techniques has been developed by such psychologists as Robert Blake, Jane Mouton and Richard Walton is there. Now, the department members attend a workshop which may last for the several days away from day to day work problems. This approach to similar on the organization development approach is there. Intergroup consultation can be quite demanding to everyone involved, but if they handled correctly, these sessions can help department employees that they are understand each others much better and lead to the improved studies and the better working relationship for years to come. So, it is a practice member rotation is required. So, rotation means that the individuals from the one department can be asked to work to the another department on a temporary or the permanent basis. The advantage is that the individuals become submerged in the values, attitudes, problems and goals of the other department. In addition, individuals can explain the problems and goals of their original departments to their new colleagues are there. This enables a frank, accurate exchange of the views and information. So, rotation works slowly to reduce the conflict, but is very effective for changing the underlying attitudes and the perceptions that promotes. So, create the shared mission and the superordinate goals are there. So, another strategy is for the top management to create a shared mission and establish the superordinate goals and require the cooperation among the departments. Organizations with the strong constructive culture where the employees share a large vision for their company are more likely to have a united cooperative workforce is there. Studies have shown that when the employees from the different departments see that their goals are linked, they will openly share the resources and the information. To be effective, superordinate goals must be substantial and employees must be granted the time and incentives to work cooperatively in pursuit of the superordinate goals rather than the departmental sub goals are there. This is the case study. The Service Employee International Unions on its website, the Service Employee International Union says it is the fastest growing union in the North America. The goals were to discourage some workers from the joining a rival union and to urge other workers to quit their union and join the ACIU instead. in a different kind of the fight these days, and the labor unions have been to decline for years. Now, so this case study will be talking about the service employees international unions, what the how the conflict has been developed, and then how these conflicts that has been resolved. The here that is the it shows that is the how two parties they work, and then how the conflict how they are having the difference of opinion, and the conflicts is to be managed. This is a research paper, the influence of organizational culture and conflict on the market orientation, and this is giving this the design methodology approach, and findings are there that conflicts mediated the relationship between the culture and market orientation, and suggest positively with the bureaucratic organization and negatively associated with the innovative and supportive organizations. This is a research paper which is talking about this study offers a model that extended previous research on the relationship between the organizational culture and the market orientation by examining the mediating role of conflict. This is the book that is the executive way conflict management and the corporations. The this book written by the Kelvin Mornell, and this will helping you about to understand and initiate portrait of these men and women as they cope with the problems usually hidden from those outside their exclusive ranks. Personal and corporate scandals, compensation battles, budget worries, interdepartmental rivalries, personal enmities, and the general answers are the among the everyday challenges and by the executives. This will be vital reading for the professional scholars and the practitioners in organizational culture and behavior, managerial decision making, dispute, social control law, and the society and organizational ethnography is there. These are the references which you can refer for the going into the detailing and find out that is how the conflict strategies can be used for the managing the conflicts, and then the how these managing strategies of the conflict will help to enhance the productivity, efficiency, and the effectiveness is there. Thank you.